Whoops. Okay, this is Jeff Snow. I'm the Distributor Development Tech Service Manager here at Anderson-Negele. I'm going to talk to you today about our repairs and returns process. If any of you have looked at the distributor agreement that went out for 2018, there were some small changes made to it. They were designed to make it easier to use and to help really drive a more competitive replacement, just to make the whole process easier to use and get rid of some of the waste that may have been there, having to do with shipping things so we could throw them away, that sort of stuff. So what we're going to look at is basically all of the reasons that someone might ask for a repair. Greg, could you just tell me that you can hear me okay? Make sure I'm not talking to no one here. So we're going to looking at this list here, we got a lot of things that we could return for: repair, recalibration, different types of warranty, whether we just want it repaired, whether we want a credit. We may just want to return it for credit because there's something wrong with it, or maybe we ordered it by mistake. Maybe we want to replace a competitive line. Thanks for the feedback, guys. I appreciate that. You can hear me. That's good. Excuse me. We also have something called a replacement program, which means you can repair something even though you don't return it. You just get rid of it. We have trade-in programs. We've been really pushing competitive trade-ins this year. This is really something, if you've seen me since I've been out traveling, I guarantee you we've talked about. Really encouraging that. I'm going to continue to do that. There's the way we always used to do it. You could send it in, but I'm also doing more and more where you send me a picture of it, or you send me a part number, or I'm on site with you and I see it and we make it work. And sometimes if you talk to me about it, depending on what we're doing, sometimes we don't even need an RMA. We know it's there and try to keep it easy. And kind of the whole idea is to make this easy for you, and so we can displace the competition without you having to do a whole lot of extra work. All right, so we're gonna look at each one of these situations and how you get the RMA, how it works. We'll just kind of talk about some of the points about these things, and then we'll have a coupon code for you at the end that I'm kind of excited about because it has has a lot to do with this competitive replacement program we're talking about. So, any of you that have read the distributor agreement, there's an Exhibit D at the end, and that whole page is about the repair by replacement program. If you haven't seen it, I would encourage you to go to whoever the principal of your company is and ask for the exhibits. You don't need the whole agreement. Quite frankly, it's written in legalese, but the exhibits at the end are really where the guidelines are for kind of how we run and how the day-to-day business works. So I encourage you to look at that. So I think most of you know that we encourage people to return product. There's a bit of a loyalty discount, if you will. We also want to bring competitors' products in. This allows us to cross them over and spec an appropriate Anderson replacement. We'll make that easy for you. We can start displacing some of the competition who's out there, and there's plenty of it. So lots of opportunity for us to displace competition. So there's always a trade-in product, whether a trade-in value on a product if it's old, no matter what kind of shape it's in. It depends a little bit on how old it is, but there's always some value in picking that up and telling the customer, hey, I'll take that for you and I'll get your replacement or whatever. And of course, that goes one step beyond that. If just because it's not an Anderson-Negele, you can still grab it, tell a customer you'll get them a replacement, and we'll help you with that. All right. So this is right out of the agreement. So everything that comes back needs an RMA. When stuff shows up at the door, we need to know what to do with it. Lots and lots and lots of boxes show up every day, so we do need to figure out what to do with them. Otherwise, they sit, and that's not a good process at all. Your customer waits, you wait. We don't know what to do and what's going on with it, and the boxes just pile up on the shelf and until somebody has time to try to track them down and figure out what to do with them. So make sure you're getting an RMA. Don't recommend sending things back. Attention me or attention anyone else. Make sure we give you an RMA number to return those. Okay, so I think you all know how to use the website. You're going to use the partner logon. Go to request RMA there. Okay, going to pull up your account information. If you don't want an RMA, you can get just the quote from that. It's going to fill in your header information, so you shouldn't have to put too much in here except for I think the PO number that you're going to use. Where are we going to ship it and how are we going to ship it? So if it's not going back to you, then give us an address. Just keep everything moving. And then here's where a little more of the details come in. So what is it that you're going to return? If you give us a serial number, the system, let me go get my laser pointer here, and tape. I think. I'll just use this. What do we got there? All right. I don't know what happened to my laser pointer, but anyway, we'll use this. That'll work. All right. So we got the serial number, and when you put a serial number in, the system is going to look into our serial number database, and it's going to reverse. It's going to look it up. It's going to reverse configure it. It's going to determine the year it was shipped, and it will give you a repair by replacement price based on the age. That basically means we're going to scrap it out, replace it. The cost to repair it won't be any more than that. Could be less if it's repairable, but it wouldn't be any more than what that website shows up. If the serial number doesn't work, or if it's a competitive product, the site doesn't let you leave this blank, but you can certainly type not available in here, and it will let you proceed, describing the product or whatever part number you have. All right, so we'll keep looking at this. Let's go. Come on here. There we go. So first thing let's look at, so every RMA starts off this way. Now we've got to decide what we're going to do with it. So let's look at exactly what the case is here, right? So return for repair, return for recalibration. Those are some of the more common repair reasons. So anytime we're returning for repair or recalibration, we're going to ask for a quote, okay? We're not going to do an okay to proceed. What was happening, I think we mentioned maybe if you've talked to me about this in a while, or if I've talked to you about it, we said we were going to get rid of the okay to proceed category, and it's gone. Okay, replace we're going to talk about in a minute, but there is no option to send something in and just have us repair it without contacting you back with a quote. So we are always going to quote anything you send in. The website already quoted you once. We're going to quote you based on the condition of it, and then we're going to wait for you to respond to let us know what to do. So this is the quote for repair step here, okay? So you're going to put the serial number in. It's going to give you your repair by replacement pricing based on the age. You're going to get a discount off of that. That is your standard discount. Last year, it was 25% across the board. The year before, it was 25% across the board. This year, it is your standard discount. This simplifies things for you and us, and that's, we discussed it and decided that's the right thing to do. Just make things easy. Why do they have to be so complicated? Also, doesn't matter where in the world you are. And what I mean by that is U.S. and Canada, the policies are completely aligned now. That wasn't always the case. Some of you in Canada may have been aware of that. It was very confusing for us, led to a lot of mistakes. So all the distributor policies are the same, and repairs go through at your standard discount in addition to the 10 or 15% trade-in that we offer. All right, so return for repair, recalibration, pretty straightforward. I think that's what we do a lot of times. Now we've got the warranty situation. So whatever you have needs to come back basically through no fault of yours or the customer. Something went wrong. You don't expect to have to pay for it. You want us to take a look at it and figure out what to do. So return for warranty evaluation. That means I'm going to send it back, fix it, do what you need to do to it, and send it back to me. Warranty evaluation with credit. So sometimes whatever needs to be returned is perhaps it's in a penetration in a tank. Maybe it's a tank level. Maybe it's just critical to the customer's process. For whatever reason, maybe it's a flow tube that couldn't be removed from the process. So for whatever reason, the customer decided, you need to send me one first. I'm going to issue a PO. I'm going to get charged for it. You're going to send me a replacement instrument. I think that this thing failed, and I think that something went wrong at the factory. I don't think it's my fault that this thing failed. So I'm going to buy a new one, and I'm going to send it back to you. I'm going to ask you to credit. Now, the customer takes a bit of a gamble when they do that, because if we determine that it's not valid, then the customer just bought a spare, effectively. But if it is valid, we will certainly credit that replacement. That is a gesture of goodwill and maintaining relationship with the customer. It's not actually what our return policy says, or our warranty policy says. A warranty policy says you can return it and we will repair or replace at our option. But a lot of times, just to keep everybody happy and keep plants running, and just to make keep the goodwill, we will send out replacements in advance. That happens quite often. And then there's a third situation where we sent you something and it's not what you asked for. Maybe we put the part number in wrong. Maybe we picked the wrong part. Maybe we quoted it wrong. But whatever it is, you've got it. It's brand new. You haven't used it, but you want to return it and get your money back. Period. all those things are in the same category. That's in all of those are in a warranty situation because it's a result of some sort of defect or failure on our part. We need to track that. We need to know about it so we can countermeasure it and make sure it doesn't happen again. So all those are the credit category, okay? That last one gets messed up sometimes. Sometimes those return for credit, I didn't order it, or I ordered something different, gets put through regular credit, and it really should be a warranty so we can look into whatever happened. All right, so in that situation, or those situations, we put the warranty box. Very important at this point that we put some sort of product problem or description in here. What is it we're looking for? I got to say, doesn't work isn't terribly helpful. If it's a pressure gauge and we put pressure on the diaphragm and the diaphragm doesn't move, yeah, we can figure out that it doesn't work pretty easily. But a lot of products, sometimes chart recorders, flow meters, turbidity sensors, conductivity sensors, we'll get them back and they'll pass basically their preliminary check, and we don't know what to look for from that point on. And that's why we really, really need that product problem or description, especially on the warranties. We like it for everything, but it's really critical on the warranties that we get that explanation. Now, I know the answer that this is, hey, I'm in the office, I'm just getting the RMA, somebody brought this in and dropped it off for me, they didn't tell me what the problem was. I understand, please forward this message to them, they'll have to forward it to the customer. This has always been a struggle for us, but I'm not giving up. We're going to continue to try to educate on the importance of this and ask for it. Okay, so that's the message there. That's where the complaint goes. Super important that we put something in there. The other thing I want to point out is we do charge an inspection fee when we're looking at warranties or when we're doing quotes if the warranty is not valid or if the item ends up not being returned. So basically what that comes down to is if something just says, hey, send it back to Anderson, they'll check it out, let you know what's going on. And there's nothing wrong with it. We put time and energy into it. We test it. We're not really sure why it was sent back. There was no complaint given. So we run through all kinds of tests, and we basically tell you, hey, we can't find any problem with this. We're going to put an inspection fee on there. We've had that for a while. It is not an uncommon thing to do. Best thing is make sure people are aware of it. Depending on the product, it's going to be an hour or half an hour of a basically hourly rate. If the product is repaired or if it's a valid warranty, we certainly won't charge that fee. Okay. If for some reason that fee causes a bunch of grief, let me know. We can make some exceptions, but in general, it's there for a reason, and it does feel like the right thing to do to make sure we're not evaluating things unnecessarily. Okay. All right. Moving on from there, we have an RMA for no return repairs, or the replacement program. So this is a situation where you've picked up an old Anderson product. You know it needs to be replaced. It doesn't need to be quoted. You just want a new one. And it's going to cost you money to box it up and ship it to us. And that's just silly, quite frankly. So we could open the box and throw it away. So we have this replacement program. It's been around for years. It's open to all distributors now. There was a time when it was only open to international distributors and I think platinum and gold, but it is now open to all distributors, regardless of your distributor level. So if you have something that needs to be returned, you can enter an RMA for it, log it into the system, and then dispose of it. Please don't leave it sitting on the shelf where there's a chance of someone else picking it up and trying to return it again. That's one of the reasons we log those in. So it is your responsibility as a distributor to scrap those out, get them out of the market, get them out of the customer's hands, get them out of your hands, just dispose of them properly, and then they're gone, and that takes care of that. Please don't put the same serial number in there twice and force me to have to make an uncomfortable phone call. So dispose of it, and then there's no way that can happen, and no one else grabs it by accident. Okay. So that's the no return. For that, we're going to pick OK to replace. That's the replacement program. Okay, and it's really important here. We are going to proceed with a replacement after we get a PO. Doesn't mean you're going to send anything in. So when we see OK to replace, it's basically you just registering the item that you want replaced with us so we know what it was, getting the RMA number, and then putting that on your PO and sending the PO to us. Issuing the RMA is not going to result in any action. Sending something in will result in the action. It'll result in a quote if you send it in after you do this. So you don't want to send it in if you say OK to replace, but what you do want to send us is a purchase order. Okay, so down in the below here, there's a note. I've got it highlighted. Repair product order will not be placed until the item is received, unnecessary, or the PO is received by customer service. And then we'll go into the RMA, validate the RMA, make sure the serial number hasn't been duplicated, and then we'll close it out and enter the replacement order with repair by replacement pricing. Okay, so those RMAs do need to be issued first. You can't send a PO, place an order, have us bill you full charge, and then come back and say, oh, I have a trade-in, I want to get the discount. That's a lot of extra work. It's kind of silly. It's very inefficient. Get the RMA number first, use the serial number, then send the PO, and it'll all work out. Okay, you don't need to return them, so you know what it is. If for some reason the customer can't spare it until they get their replacement, this method works for that, because you've got the serial number, you're logging it in, they get their replacement, you pick it up, you dispose of it. We don't have to come back and do credits later, which is just like I said, a bunch of extra paperwork for both of us. How do you know what can be repaired and what should be put through the replacement program? So if you know the product really well, you can kind of think about it and say, oh, what about this, what about that? But even sometimes it's still confusing. So this year in the appendix, what did I say it was, D or Exhibit D or whatever exhibit we were working from, I think it's D, there is a list, this is all out of that page, of what is repairable and what is not. Basically, if it has a diaphragm on it, a welded diaphragm with a filled system, we're not going to repair it. If that diaphragm has any damage at all, there's nothing we can do. Those are soldered and brazed together and welded. We're not going to take any of those filled systems apart and attempt to repair them. We're not going to salvage the case. It's all scrap metal at that point. So anything with a diaphragm can be repaired. Temperature sensors, the element is buried down in the stainless. Years ago, we used to repair them. It took more labor to repair them than it would just to make a new one. Our manufacturing is much more efficient than a repair process. And the other thing was we were always debating whether the surface finish of an old probe was still 3A after they get dinged and banged around and shipped and thrown in COP tanks and things like that. So we've done away with repairing the RTDs, and we just replace those. However, things that have a circuit board in them that are not potted, that can be opened up, the puck or the boards can be removed, they can be worked on, they're somewhat modular, can be repaired. So everything on the right-hand column, these level sensors are modular, the CT8Bs, the CTs and the CT8Bs are modular because you can take the puck out of the head. Anything that has a box, even L3s, we can replace components. The L3 is modular, right? So you can replace parts on that. Same thing with the D3. All the chart recorders are repairable. ITM and ILM are the analytical products. Those are all repairable. Flow meters, absolutely repairable. Those are high-dollar items. You don't want to just throw those away if they can be repaired. Sometimes there's something that can be done with those. Flow switches, micromotion, and print assemblies. Probably most of you know by now we do have a print assembly replacement program. That's the last thing on the list down here. So we expect those to last about 2 years in the field, and we expect customers to stock spares. Once they serve their useful life of about 2 years, they should be returned to us. Kind of a core charge. We give a pretty good discount. We refurbish it. We don't send you the same one back, but we'll give you a refurbished one back for a significant discount off the price of a new one. So print assemblies, just constantly keep them churning through that process, and keep some on your shelf, keep some on your customer's shelf, because while they last about 2 years, they never fail at a convenient time. It's always a Sunday morning or a holiday or in the middle of the night. So customers should have these on the shelf. They should put it in their PM to replace it every 2 years, and then just keep kind of cycling them through. Okay. Circuit boards a lot of times can be repaired as well. So go ahead and send those in. We'll try to figure out what's going on with them. All right. And after that, where's that pricing come from? I mentioned the discount. It's 10 or 15% based on the age of the instrument. So this is a full replacement price. So this is a discount off the list price, and then you receive your standard discount after that. So the idea is you can quote this discount to your customer or your end user, and then you will receive your standard discount off of that. So over 5 years old, customers got good use out of it. The loyalty discount is 10%. Customers failed it within 5 years. We would generally expect something to last more than 5 years. So we're going to go ahead and give the customer a little bit extra trade-in discount on that because of the age of it. So that's where we have 15% off the list. All right. And then we have the competitive trade-in. So this is something I really want to encourage people to use more and more. Pick up a competitive product, go ahead and accept them from the customer, even if that's not a brand that you sell. Hopefully it's not a brand that you sell, but in a lot of cases you're going to take care of your customer, so you'll get them if you have to. Probably have to buy them from your competitor. Nobody likes to do that, but go ahead and grab them, get the serial number off them or the model number, take a picture, try to figure out what it is, send it in to me, or send the whole product in to the repairs team and they'll figure out what it is, or send me the information and we'll help you cross it over. The application engineers can also help you cross it over. We don't expect our customer service team to be experts on competitive products, so if you send it to them, they're either going to send it to me or to tech service. But there's enough of us that are familiar with these products that can cross them over for you. So a couple different ways to do it. Just send it in. We've always had that, where you could just return it to us, and we're going to give you a 35% discount, period, flat discount off of list for the trade-in. What we've got that's new this year, really, if you've seen me face-to-face, I'm sure I've talked to you about this. Look for those competitive units and send me a picture of it, and I will look at it and make sure I can read the model number. That way I know we have it in hand, and we'll cross over based on what we know. And the other thing we've been doing is, hey, if you've got it and I come see you and I identify it, I'm like, yep, I'll get your replacement for that. Well, then I won't make you, I'll basically say, get an RMA, and I'll just let me know what it is and I'll validate for you. So for those RMAs, photo validated, site validated, what I need you to do is get the RMA number and send the RMA number to whoever validates the competitive unit. So it could be any of our salespeople, any of our field techs, could be me. Just let us know that, hey, this is what I'm replacing. Here's the RMA number I entered for it, and we will go in and put in a note on that RMA that says nothing's coming back. Use a repair by replacement, or use a competitive trade-in pricing and place a new order. Again, I want to avoid the situation where this competitive replacement is coming in after the fact and you're asking for a credit. And again, paperwork for us, paperwork for you, just a lot of extra work, very inefficient. Plus you're shipping something in that's going to get thrown away. So we can do photo or site validations of those competitive products and still do that repair by replacement program. Okay. So how does that look? In that case, we're going to use the OK to replace. Okay. And we're going to describe the competitive part number in our problem box, and we're going to say what we want it replaced with. There's going to be some separate follow-up email, right? So the picture or whatever is going to be sent to me or your regional person to validate, probably me, or maybe Pat Eckler as well, if she's your person. And we'll validate that, and we'll make a note in that RMA saying, hey, this is what we're going to replace this with. Go ahead and proceed once you see the PO. Just like OK to replace before, we still need the PO. Okay, so don't forget to send the PO, and getting the RMA or sending the email does not initiate the order. It just lets me know to go validate the RMA, and then you can place yours. So 35% total list price off for competitive trades-in. It's not multiple discounts. It's not at 35 and your standard. It's 35 period. All right, so that's how we're going to do that, and that is across the board for everybody. So all distributor levels, it's the exact same on competitive trade-in. Okay, it is like for like. Don't have too much leeway there. I mean, you can't send in a turbine flow meter, a competitive turbine flow meter that costs $1,200 and ask for a 10%, 35% discount off a mag meter that costs $5,000. You've got to be reasonable about that. If we want to be reasonable, we want to be fair. We want the system to work, so we don't want to be crazy unreasonable, but at the same time, let's not game the system. Okay. All right, and then last but not least, on these competitive trade-ins, there are times when maybe we're not pulling the unit out, but the customer wants another one. They say, hey, can I get one of these? And I can't, I'm not trading the old one in, but I'm either going to buy another one of the competitive product, or heck, if you can show me, the Anderson-Negele value, which is pretty easy to do, then I'll buy theirs. So this is what I have. Can you get me another one of these? But it's going to be Anderson-Negele. So that's not a trade-in, right? It's just a competitive crossover, and it's the fact that there's a competitive sale that is about to happen, and we are going to head it off. You're going to head it off, and you're going to pull that in and turn it into an Anderson-Negele sale. In that case, work with me directly, work with Pat directly, send us the information on the competitive product that we're crossing over. and we'll issue you a PER code to do that. That's very specific to that product, and we'll give you a discount on that. That we believe, based on what we know, is going to allow you to win that order against the competition. Okay, so flow meters and E&H flow meters and Rosemont flow meters and Pyramation RTDs and E&H RTDs and Anderson-Negele level sensors and Rosemont level sensors. All those things are really what we're targeting for competitive plate replacement. If you see anything else that we may talk to us about it, I will tell you I am most excited, and I get the most excited about, and I put the most energy into crossing over competitive products with our brand new products. The reason we launch those brand new products is to displace the competition. Okay, so that's kind of the whole reason we do this is we launch new products to grow. One of the ways to grow is to win projects. Another way is to displace competition. And so I'm going to cross it over to new product, right? All right. And then we got the last situation here, return for credit, order an error customer does not need. So you placed an order, you got what you wanted, you got exactly what you asked for. The customer got exactly what they asked for. Nobody's saying that we had an error at the factory, but they just want to send it back and get their money back. So our policy does allow for that. It allows for credit if the product is less than 90 days old, if it's standard product, and if it hasn't been used. Okay, there are some products that are non-standard, something that's custom that we are never ever going to be able to sell again. Should be labeled as non-cancelable, non-returnable, and those products we really don't want back, and we're not going to take back. And in almost every case, we've warned you of that on the order confirmation. We've tried to get that loaded on all our descriptions to make sure you realize when you purchase something, if it's a very unique item, that it's not going to be cancelable or returnable. So if you use the RMA system regularly, you may notice this little red line up here. It's not written any bigger, but it is in red. It says you must contact the factory for all credit returns. They cannot be processed online. So what this means is please do not use the RMA system that I just showed you how to use for a lot of other things. Don't use it to see if you can return something for credit. You got to give us a call or send us an email. Give us a serial number, maybe your purchase order number. Tell us what you want to return. We need enough information to find the order, where we shipped it. We need to validate that it can be returned. So it needs to have been shipped within 90 days. It needs to be an item that is returnable, and we will look that up once we know what the item is, and then we will give you an RMA number via email or phone. And it will start with RMA, and it will have 4 digits in it, at least currently. We are looking at working on an ERB conversion, and that's all going to change. So I don't know how that's going to be, but currently it's a different RMA number, different RMA system. It's manually entered, and it's manually validated before we issue the RMA. So please call for those. Don't use these RMAs off the website. Okay. So that wraps up my presentation. We always promise you a special coupon code when you join this live, and that's what I have for you here. So everyone who's logged in, and we have a nice big group. We've got 74 people logged in, so that's awesome. Is going to receive an email thanking you for joining us, and it's going to have a PER code in it, which is going to take that trade-in, that competitive trade-in discount that I just told you about that was 35%. It's going to take it up to 40% for the next couple of weeks. And it's going to be for a very specific product. And of course, they're new products that we just launched, and they're new. Well, we launched the L3 last year. We launched the D3 just recently. And these new products are targeted specifically at competitive products. And so this is really what the competitive trade-in program is for. So look for level applications, level sensors, pressure sensors, differential level sensors that are typical processing storage. We're not looking at ESL flash chambers. That's the one place we don't go with the D3. If you saw that presentation from Ashish, you know all about the D3. But any aseptic storage, any place we would have used a TDL, our older differential level transmitter product, and there's a competitive unit, we would love the opportunity to cross those over to the D3, or if it's an atmospheric level sensor, or if it's a process pressure transmitter, we would love the opportunity to cross that over to an L3, and in the next 2 weeks, you'll get an extra 5% off of that. So you'll get 40% total when that PER code comes to you. All right, so I am watching for any questions, and I'll give you just a couple minutes for that, but we're at 30 minutes, and I hope you found that beneficial, and I hope you will all go out and look for some competitive product and use that coupon code, because that's why we launch new products, is to displace that competition. So let's go do it. All right. No questions so far. People seem to be liking the information. That's great. Hope the truck stop noise wasn't too bad. They didn't run me off, which was good because I found a shady spot. A couple of Jake breaks going by, but we survived. All right. So, folks, most of you know me. You should know my email address, j.snow@anderson-negele.com. If you do have any questions, then send those out. Okay, there's something that popped up here. It's probably going to show up in the screen. The question is, the repair by replacement discount, 25%, did that change to our regular discount? No. Everyone has a standard discount. There's a range of them based on the level that you're at, and that remains your standard discount. Prior to this year or way back when, the discount on repairs was 25% regardless of what your standard discount was. That was confusing for us. It was confusing for a lot of you. It led to errors during order entry, and we discontinued that practice. And now, therefore, your discount on repairs is your standard discount no matter what. Hopefully that answers the question. So for some of you, you're saying, hey, that's great because my discount was a little more than 25%, and now I think that's better. And there are maybe some of you said, well, my discount, now I'm going to have a little less discount on repairs. Yes, that is true. It's not a mistake. We're aware of that. I still believe it's going to be easier overall, and it's going to be easier to apply and simpler for everyone. And the same logic that applies for having different discount tiers applies for different discounts for repairs. So if you really want to talk about it, give me a call. I have no problem defending it. But that is a change that we made. Someone is saying, here's someone saying, hey, if you're not quite sure how to dispose of things, using the replacement program, the distributor could grind the serial numbers off so that they don't come back to get you by mistake somehow. So I think that's a great idea. We said dispose of it, and the key is that it's off the market. It's not going to be coming back. So if someone, if you grind the serial number off, sounds a little bit illicit if you were talking about guns or something, but it's not. It's a serial number off a level sensor. But anyway, if you take the serial number off, that makes sure that no one else is going to pick it up by mistake, or that you're not going to have it sit on your shelf for a couple of years and then pick it up again and try to trade it in. So that's not a bad idea. Okay. Anything else? Any other suggestions? Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything here. Looks like I got them. All right, folks. We're going to wrap that up. Hope you enjoyed your lunch. I hope you found this helpful. Watch for the email, and I'm hoping to see a whole bunch of people sending in competitive product or sending me pictures to cross over in the next couple of weeks. That's right. We're going to have a big run on L3s and D3s in the next couple of weeks, right? All right. Thanks a lot. Have a great weekend. I will wrap this up.